If you've got dark spots showing up on your hands, face, or arms, I want you to listen carefully, because here's something most people don't know. Dark spots are not just skin deep. They're an indication that you're forming the same kind of damage in your brain, your heart, and your lungs. If you're seeing them on the outside, chances are they're forming all over the inside too. And despite what people call them, age spots, they are not just a normal part of getting older. They're a signal. Your body is actually trying to tell you something. So today I'm going to break down what those spots really mean, how they're connected to aging on the inside and on the outside, and what you can do to help get rid of them naturally. Plus, I'll share my own routine and why at 75 I still get compliments on my hands and skin. Okay, so let's break it down. Most people think dark spots are caused by sun exposure. And yes, sunlight does play a role. But it's not the whole story. And it's definitely not the main reason they show up. Because here's what's really happening. Dark spots are a visible sign of something much bigger, a process called fibrosis. Fibrosis is when tissues throughout your body, like your heart, your lungs, even your skin, start to stiffen and scar over time. This stiffness makes it harder for your organs to function the way they're supposed to. For example, in the heart, fibrosis can prevent the muscle from relaxing properly between beats. That's called diastolic dysfunction, and it's incredibly common as we get older. In the lungs, fibrosis makes it harder to take a deep breath. That's known as pulmonary fibrosis, and it can sneak up on you without any symptoms. Now here's the connection. The same process that causes stiffness in your heart and lungs also happens in your skin. So when you see dark spots forming, it's not just surface level discoloration. It's a visible warning sign of tissue damage that could be affecting your entire body long before you feel it. So the real culprit is a process called glycation. This happens when sugar molecules in your body bind to proteins, especially when heat is involved, forming sticky compounds called AGEs, or advanced glycation end products. These AGEs break down collagen, stiffen tissues, and speed up visible aging, including wrinkles and dark spots. And these same AGEs also show up in stiffened heart tissue and damaged lungs. So again, this isn't just about your skin. Glycation affects your whole body. Now, what makes glycation worse? Now, most people know that sugar is part of the problem. But what they don't realize is protein is the other half of the equation. In fact, glycation requires both sugar and protein to happen. So even healthy seeming meals, like grilled chicken with a sweet marinade, or a protein bar with sugar alcohols, can create a perfect storm for age formation, especially if you cook at high temperatures. Grilling, toasting, roasting, you dramatically increase these compounds. So where are some of the worst offenders? Well, charred or burned meat. That crust on your steak are advanced glycation end products. And when you eat those advanced glycation end products, you actually absorb them. Another bad offender is toast and grilled sandwiches. Just remember that sweet marinades and barbecue sauces, which are going to get grilled on the grill, you're eating advanced glycation end products on that food. Processed high protein snacks or extremely high amounts of protein powder also create advanced glycation end products. Now here's the problem. Back in the good old days, you didn't drink protein powder or eat a protein bar. You ate an animal or plant that contained protein. Now, it actually takes a huge amount of energy and digestion to break down that protein. You lose about 30% of all the calories in a protein-based meal by the process of digestion. And that's one reason protein can help you lose weight. But when you suddenly eat protein that's been broken down into its individual amino acids, that protein slams into your bloodstream. Unlike trickling down, your mitochondria, which can use protein for fuel, get overwhelmed. Now it's rush hour in your mitochondria. When mitochondria can't turn all that protein into energy, ATP, the mitochondria shifted over to store as fat. Now here's something interesting I've seen over and over in my practice. Patients who eat more plant-based protein, things like lentils, nuts, and hemp, tend to have much lower levels of IGF-1 or insulin-like growth factor. Why is that good? It turns out that super agers, super old people, late 90s, early 100s, have very low levels of insulin-like growth factor 1, IGF-1. Sadly, high IGF-1 levels are linked to accelerated aging, tissue overgrowth, and more dark spots. That's because plant proteins are different in their amino acid structure. What's interesting is they don't spike IGF-1 the way animal proteins do, and they're less likely to promote glycation, especially when cooked gently, like steaming veggies, including animal proteins. For instance, the Japanese tend to steam their fish, steam their chicken, steam their vegetables. Now, I'm not saying everyone needs to cut out animal protein completely, but if you're dealing with dark spots or worried about what's going on inside your body, dialing back the meat and adding more plant-based sources can really help. So, if you want to reduce dark spots and slow the aging process inside and out, here's what I recommend. Number 1, add more plant-based protein to your diet. Number 2, cut back on sugar and excess protein. The average American consumes 2 times the recommended amount of protein just by eating food. 2 times the recommended amount. We are over-proteinized. Third, avoid high heat cooking and try steaming, roasting at low temps, or indirect grilling. Next, eat polyphenol-rich foods every day, whether they're berries in season, pomegranates in season, extra virgin olive oil, even extra dark chocolate. Use a clean, mineral-based sunscreen. Take time to release vitamin C twice a day. Focus on your gut health, because skin health starts in the gut. Eat foods that feed your good gut buddies, like fermented foods, prebiotic foods like chicory, and avoiding inflammatory foods like whole grains and nightshades. Okay, so let's go over some of the questions I get all the time. Dr. Gundry, how do you keep your hands looking so young? Now, the hands are one of the first place dark spots form. Now, my hands weren't always this way. It took about 1 year to get rid of the dark spots after putting myself on my eating protocol. Now, this list is free at Gundry MD and drgundry.com. Primarily, I stopped eating a low-fat diet. I don't go a day without olive oil, avocado, or pistachio nuts. I've focused on doing all the things I just recommended. Eating polyphenol-rich foods, cutting sugar, avoiding overcooked proteins, and taking care of my gut buddies. Everything starts in the gut. But here's the thing. Even with all that, I know I'm still exposed to sun and oxidative stress like everyone else. Let me tell you a story about one of my patients. 2 of my patients are in their late 70s from Oregon. And as many people know, many people from Washington State and Oregon bring their RVs down to Palm Springs for the winter. Good idea. This patient, whose hands were covered in dark spots. We saw them the first year and they went off back to Oregon. And they were driving back to Palm Springs in the winter of the following year in the RV. And his wife suddenly turned to him and she said, George, look at your hands. And George has his hands on the steering wheel like this. And George went like this to look at his hands and nearly drove off the road. Now, why was she exclaiming for him to look at his hands? Because his dark spots had disappeared. And when I saw them back in my office, number 1, his dark spots on his hands had all gone away. And they shared the nearly fatal way that he discovered how good he looked. He'd been following protocol. It worked. So, do I use one product on my skin? Yes, it's called Dark Spot Diminisher. And yes, it's mine. But unlike most spot treatments that just lighten the skin, this one is packed with polyphenol-rich plant extracts. And I used to have a number of dark spots on my hand. I'm down to one, and you actually can barely see it. I have none on this hand. Why? Because I eat to remove dark spots, I eat to prevent dark spots, and any pesky ones I treat with dark spot diminisher. Now, other questions I get all the time: is melasma the same as these dark spots? Is it fixed the same way? No, melasma is not the same, but it's actually fixed in the exact same way. And I've had a number of patients, including a few famous ones, that were able to relieve their melasma by eating a proper diet. Melasma is once again a sign that you have insulin resistance, you have metabolic inflexibility, and this is just another warning on your skin surface that something is really wrong inside of you. Another question: will red light therapy help? Well, I'm actually quite fond of some of the red light therapy masks that are available. What about white spots instead of dark ones? Now, white spots are actually an absence of pigment. And there can be two reasons for that absence of pigment. One is the more concerning one, which is vitiligo. Now, Michael Jackson suffered from vitiligo. Vitiligo is actually an autoimmune disease where your melanin-forming cells in your skin are attacked by your immune system. And the good news is I see a lot of patients with vitiligo, and we're able to reverse that vitiligo with my program. The other cause of white spots is actually a simple fungal infection called tinea versicolor. You can treat it with topical antifungals. That will kill the fungus, but the bad news is the white spots will remain over the winter until you get out in the sun the next year, and then they'll go away. Question: what are healthier ways we can cook on the grill? Well, I never cook directly over the coals on a grill or over the flames. I always cook indirectly so that I'm not really making chars on anything I cook. And that's an easy way to start. Okay, so here's the bottom line. Dark spots aren't just a sign of age. They're a sign of damage. And what's happening on your skin could very well be happening in your heart, your lungs, even your brain. So if you're seeing those spots show up, don't just cover them up. Use them as a signal to take action. If you found this video helpful, I think you're going to love this one. You know how passionate I am about these mighty molecules. They can truly supercharge your health, especially when it comes to your gut